Hello, my friends. I'm Perlo Wisdom from R&J Media and Puck in Deep, baby. I'll be doing a show on Puck in Deep, or called Puck in Deep, in the regular season coming up here right away. Almost got the channel finished. Almost got all the doodads and everything we need. But until then, I'm doing this on this channel, and I'm on to the Boston Bruins season preview and predictions. You can get all my content anytime, no matter what my content will be, on Perlo's NHL POW on Twitter. If you go into the community section that I have, it's on the top of my profile. Become a community member. You're going to get a real good deal on my NHL picks that you can also find on the Ice Guys, Monday and Wednesday, voted the best betting podcast in North America last year. So you can get some free ones there. You'll get some free ones on my Twitter, and you can get my premium plays for if you go over to the community page, you're going to get it for $20 a month. Nothing, man. And we made huge last year. So let's get into the Boston Bruins. Let's get into their lineup. Forwards and defense, goaltending, all of that, and make some predictions on what they're going to be next year. And I'll give you a free futures pick or two here as well. All right, let's look at it. Okay, top line. Basically, Geeky, Lindholm, Pasternak. All right. I'll say this right away. Pasternak, if you can find it, to score over 40 or to score over 50, take it. Get to, maybe even to get the Rocket Rouchard. I would even go that far as well. This is a guy that can score with no help whatsoever. He's amazing. I mean, I don't need to tell you about David Pasternak. Guy flies off the wings, can pick corners from all over the ice. Underrated passer, too. Just an amazing passer. Over 100 points I could see. And I know he's not going to really have all that much help, but David Pasternak is not a guy that gives up ever. After last year, after they traded a bunch of their players away, like Coyle and that, he actually looked like he just played harder. He grinded it out even more. And I think he's committed to Boston. And he's going to have these players saying, look, we got to prove to these guys that this rebuild, and they are in a rebuild, is going to end soon. And the only way we can do that is if we show them that they're very good and we need less and less pieces. And I think that's what he's going to do. He's going to put them on his back, and he's going to score like a son of a bitch. Because we'll get into that. Morgan Geeky, you can get him for over 50 points at minus 120. I would even go over 60 points. He almost got 60 points last year and over 30 goals. I think 30 goals is plus 150. And actually, no, it might be plus 250. Sorry, I already put that in. Over 60 points is in plus 170 or something like that. I would bet that because, again, this line is going to be providing most of the offense for this team. They're going to get tons of minutes, tons of power play time. It's going to be this line, and we'll go from there. But I would definitely be looking at that. He's also a very good defensive player. Although I think all these players' analytics are going to look poor at the end of this season, and I'll explain that as we go. Elias Lindholm. It's basically a second pair center who got really overrated when he was in Calgary. He was flanked with Goudreau and Matthew Tkachuk, who did most of the work, but he was able to find a way to be able to complement them pretty well and put up a lot of points. And that's kind of what he is. He's a complementary center. He's been given, I think he had third place Selke votes when he was playing in Calgary, and he's not that, man. Average at best. He does play against top competition. He's not a terrible center or anything, but he's not great. He's not a number one anymore. 47 points last year. He'll probably put up more points because, like I said, this line's going to go going to be doing all the heavy lifting for this team, unless they decide to split it up to try to get offense through the lineup. But honestly, I don't think it's going to happen. Next, we have, we'll go to the second line. We have Arvidsson, Pavel Zacha, and Mete Blumel. Um, let's start off with Victor Arvidsson. It used to be one of the better three-zone defensive players in the league at one time, but he's had a lot of injuries. He can still drive offense, but honestly, he's just not that great anymore. He's certainly playing way too high here. He's got a great shot if he can get to the spots. Problem is he has a difficult time getting to those spots now. It's a big challenge. This is going to be a big challenge for him, and I think he did this more or less to hopefully get traded at the deadline. I mean, probably not in his mind right now, but there's a very good chance that this is a piece that could put up some good numbers. This is a player that could put up good numbers or try to put up good numbers, hoping, crossing his fingers to get traded at the deadline. Or if they decide to keep him, at least he's making $4 million, and he might be able to pull up another contract. Pavel Zacha at center, reasonable second line center. There's nothing spectacular about Pavel Zacha. He never really progress like a lot of people thought he would when he was drafted. I want to say he was in the top 10 when he got drafted by the New Jersey Devils. And in this lineup, he's just not good enough of a second line center to be, flanked with guys like Arvidsson and Blumel, who really gets an opportunity. I'll go to him. I mean, he's not that great defensively, Pavel Zacha. He's just an average center and not even that great as a second line center. Blumel never really got an opportunity in Dallas, so he's getting a chance here. He's only 25 years old. Got a lot of speed. I'm not sure about his overall game, but I know he has a lot of speed, and he'll do the best he can. He could be a surprise, I suppose, but Dallas really had some open spots and didn't bother signing him, let him go. So what does that tell you? Dallas is a team that has a sharp eye for prospects, and at 25 years old, they just kind of said, "Yeah, okay, man, go find your way somewhere else." I don't think that's a very good. That's he's coming in with. It doesn't speak well for this player. I'll tell you that right now. And they got him on the second line right away. So. Tanner Jeannot, Casey Middlestat, and Matthew Potrias. I don't know what to say about this, but to say this isn't a third line at all. Tanner Jeannot is not built on this promise that he had when he was in Nashville. And, I think it was Nashville that Tampa Bay gave up a crap load of picks for him, thinking that he was going to be able to progress as an offensive guy that can have some muscle. But really, all he is now is a guy that has muscle. He can defend his teammates. And I'm leaning here by picking up Tanner Jeannot on an overpayment, by the way. $3.4 million for Tanner Jeannot is really outrageous, to tell you the honest truth. This guy shouldn't be any more than $1 million. But this also helps me gives me the idea that the direction for this team is there's going to be a lot of young players coming in. And one thing Tanner Jeannot can do is protect players. And that's what I think he's here for. I think that Boston is going the direction of basically a rebuild without saying it, and a big one at that. So at 3.4, they're going to have to hit the cap floor. He provides a role in that way. Casey Middlestat, man, I don't know what's going on with this guy. He's got playmaking ability, but he just never has been able to put it together. He's had parts of his career where he looked like he was moving in the right direction and then just went right back down again. I don't know if it's something in his head or his off-season regimen or what it is, but he's just not a good player. He's not even a third-line center at this point, to me, honestly. On a really good team, he's probably a fourth-line guy, and he's making 5-7. There's been talks of him being traded. I don't know who the hell would trade for this guy unless it's for another really bad contract. This is a really bad contract. Who do they trade again to? I forgot who they trade to Colorado to pick him up. He was a defenseman too, and I can't remember. But anyways, he's no good. Matthew Poitras, I mean, he's only 21. This is, out of all the players on this third line, this is the one that really does have a lot of promise. He's showing signs of being a solid three-way defensive mind player that can do a lot of things for your team. Yeah, he's not putting up a lot of points right now, and I don't think he ever will. But I think he can be a good, valuable player for a good team. I think he'll be a solid third line winger that puts up, like 25 to 35 points or something like that down the road, and can do a lot of things for your team. So I do like that. He's definitely Potras is I can't, as you can tell, I'm struggling with how to say his name. I've heard it a couple ways. He is a bit of a bright spot in this lineup of players that are not too many bright spots. Let's put it that way. Michael Esamon, I think he probably should play up where Jeannot is, but he's not really much better either. Fourth line role is fine. He tries really hard. If you give him open ice with his speed, he can score a couple for you. But there's nothing spectacular about his game. He looks really cool when he's on the ice. When he has a puck on his stick and he has some open ice, he does have a lot of speed. He's fast. He's really fast, actually. He's a great skater, but his overall game is whatever. Sean Corrali, same thing. He's obviously really good in the room. He's basically a reach-around guy. He should barely be in the league. What's he making, $1.8 million? Okay, whatever. Character guy, that kind of stuff. On a team that really needs players to be good, he's not that good. Like, he's not a bad player if you've got a solid top nine and you want to build your fourth line with character and rah-rah guys that can get everybody going. Sure, have a Sean Corrali. But he's just a place filler here. If you don't have any young guys that can take Sean Corrali's spot, you don't have too many young guys. And we'll talk about some of the young guys that Boston has coming up. And Mark Kostelic, same thing. Out of the three, he's probably the best of the three. Very physical, very big, can kind of perform a role like Jeannot. I actually would prefer him over Jeannot, to tell you the honest truth. He actually can play some defense, but he's a fourth line guy. I'd have him on my team if I had a really good team. All of these things say the same thing. So we'll go to the defense now. Mason Lohrei and McAvoy, this is on Puckpedia. I don't know if it's going to stay this way. I would imagine Lindholm would be up here, though they might balance out their D. Mason Lohrei is 25 years old. He can move the puck well. He's got offensive skill. He's just not great defensively at any rate, shape, or form. Now, by the time he's 27, he could fill out to be a pretty good second pair, I think. But he's got some filling out to do in his game. If you're playing him with McAvoy, you're more or less playing him, and we'll talk about McAvoy next. You're more or less playing for him to grow. And that's what McAvoy will be doing here. McAvoy he's getting poo-pooed a lot in Boston last year because eye test-wise, he doesn't look very good. He didn't look very good last year. But the analytics I use through JFresh Analytics, they take into consideration the people you're playing with and how somebody would do in the same situation if they were put in that situation. And I think McAvoy just had too much to do. Yeah, he's got the puck a lot of the time, especially last year without Hampus Lindholm in the lineup. He had the puck a lot of the time, and when you don't really have forwards to pass to besides, the top players we talked about, and you're playing with the defenseman who's just figuring things out, you can look bad doing what you're doing. Even though anybody else who has equal amount of skill as McAvoy would probably look as bad. That's what it comes down to. He did the best he could. He still was over 50% Uh, Over 50% defensive player, which isn't too bad. But overall, McAvoy is very good. He's a number one, no doubt about it, and he's a right D. So, is an excellent player. But playing with Mason Lohrei makes it tough. He hasn't played against top competition last year. By the way, going back to the forwards for a second, most of these players like Arvidsson and Blumel for sure, they didn't play against top competition last year, and now they're going to have to. So their analytics will probably even look worse. Yeah, okay. Nikita Zadorov, known for his defense, super huge. Again, one of those players that didn't look good last year. Has been a very good defensive player, but even analytically last year, he fell off a cliff. Still, Zadorov actually has more offensive ability than people give him credit for, as far as driving offense is concerned. He's not a guy that's going to put up points. He does have a big shot, and when it gets through, he can score. And he's really good at pinching in and keeping it in the offensive zone and all of those like that. But he's playing way too high in the lineup. That's the problem. When he was putting better defensive analytics up, he wasn't playing against top competition, and he has to here, and he's overmatched. Overall, I would love him on my team in the right spot, but he's not in the right spot in Boston because they just don't have those players. Unless they play Lindholm up, and I imagine that's what they'll do. For some reason, they have Lindholm on the pair here. I imagine Zadorov will be down in the bottom pair. And then he will look a little better because they didn't have Lindholm last year. But before I get to Lindholm, let me go to Henri Jokiharju. Should be a third pair at best. He's overmatched again here. He doesn't really have anything overly spectacular for a game. He's about as below average of a defenseman as you can get for a second liner as you can get. Just below average. On a really good team with a really good defense, he should be your pair, and that's fine. That's great. The guy can skate. You know, he can skate it out of the zone. Like he is a really good skater, and that's what's been his MO in the league when he played in Buffalo. He's a good skater, but his overall game besides that is meh, pretty meh. $3 million player. All these guys are pretty much role fillers until they can get young players that can take their spots. Then you have Hampus Lindholm, so I would have to think he's going to play at least second pair on the LD, and that Lindholm is the best defenseman on this team, and they didn't have him last year. Boston fans are saying, "Oh, it's going to be better this year because we got Lindholm back." No, it's not. It's not. They lost too much with Coyle and some of the other players. Who else did they trade? Yeah. I forget, to Toronto. Anyways, his lineup isn't good, and the forward group is just not good. You basically have 2 fourth lines, and Lindholm's going to have a lot of pressure on him. He'll do well as Lindholm does, but it's not going to move the needle. This just a bad team. Andrew Peeke, very good defenseman. I mean, not really. Again, another guy that you want to play third pair, which you've got how many here? Mason Lohrei probably should be third pair, offensively higher. Jokiharju, same thing. Peak, same thing. This is probably the strength of the team is this defense. And if this defense was on a team like, say, you saw what I was doing, like New Jersey or Florida, of course, Tampa Bay or something like that, Colorado maybe, Vegas. You know, I would say the Vegas defense isn't really that much better than this one. They'd be fine. But with these forwards, they're going to get exposed, I'm sure. And Jeremy Swayman, who didn't have a great year last year, held out on the contract. It almost seemed like he got a big head about himself. I remember one time when Swayman fought the other goaltender, and they talked to Zadorov about it. And the reporter said, "What do you think about Swayman sticking up for his teammates and fighting the other goaltender?" And Zadorov said, "Is that what he was doing? Okay. That was not a good look, man." kind of gave me the impression that people were like, yeah, whatever. I hope I'm wrong, but it looks like he needs to be knocked down a tad because he got that contract and he thinks he's the best thing since sliced bread. They traded Allmark away, and I don't know. Seems like attitude issues here. Other than that, if he does get his head straight, he's awesome. He's, what he can do is amazing. Extremely good number one goaltender, no doubt about that. But he's going to have a lot of rubber on him this year. So the ego better go down because your numbers are probably not going to look good this year. Now what happens when guys have big egos like that is they start blaming players and then they're a problem in the room and oh my gosh. It ain't pretty, man. So let's hope that doesn't happen. Joonas Korpisalo is a goaltender that plays in the NHL. That's all I got to say about that. So you look at their depth, it's not great. And that's the problem. If this team is rebuilding like I think they should be, or think they are, I mean, the only way this team isn't rebuilding is they have like a tremendous amount of cap space next year. I believe, well, not that much, 19 million. It's not even that great. This team could be going into one hell of a rebuild in the next little while. Like, I mean, long time, because as far as prospects are concerned, of course, they just picked up, what's his name, last year. I didn't even like the pickup. The first round pick they got last year. And I always forget his name. I should have written it down. But, James Hagens. They picked up James Hagens. He's not going to play this year. And honestly, I think he's overrated. I don't think this kid's going to be like much more than an average second line center, to tell you the honest truth. And they need way more than that. And all they really have is John Beecher, who probably should play instead of like Corrali or whatever or something like that, just to keep on giving him minutes so he can become a better player. Fraser Minton, he's going to be probably a fourth liner in the league. Like, people in Toronto kept on talking about it. Hey, fans in Toronto think their prospects are always more amazing than they are, generally speaking, like as a whole. And he's not that great. He's not that great. He only put up like just over a point a game in junior last year, I believe it was. He came over, I think he put up maybe half a point a game in the AHL. I'm going to look it up right now. Yeah, 13 points in 26 games. I mean, it's not bad, but he's 21 now. His max is a third liner. And he's probably not ready to play this year. Neither is Fabian Lysell. Looks like a flub now. Marek Kuznetsov from Minnesota. He's got lots of tools, and he's one of those guys that can make a lot of moves and everything, and then do nothing with it. There's just not much here. This team is going to need a deep rebuild. And when you got your general manager Sweeney saying things like, I think we're going to be more competitive than people think this year. That's what you can say? More competitive than people think is what you got here? Got a new coach, Sturm. Is he going to perform miracles with this lineup? If that's the best your manager can say, you're probably looking at lottery here. So I'm taking lottery. Take those picks with Pasternak and Geeky. Make some money off this team. In the regular season, this team's going to get their ass kicked a lot. Just keep on taking Pasternak over shots, Geeky to score a goal. And every once in a while, try to find a spot they can win because you can get it at plus 300. But if this team isn't bottom 7, I'll be very, very surprised. And I think any fan out there should want it to not be the case. You should want this team to suck really, really bad. All right, that's my full 42, everybody. I got an Islanders one coming up right now. I'm going to be doing it with RNJ Media. Ron and the Islanders girl. She's going to be on. We're going to do the New York Islanders preview. I'll have that out pretty soon. Be watching out for it. Have a great day, everybody. Kay.